Good evening to you all, wherever you are. Uh, it's nice to see you. In New York, the sun shone for about 45 minutes. And in my house, that was a great deal of relief because we could go outside and realize that the sun does, in fact, shine on New York despite everything else that's going on. Uh, you all are here because you are a select group of people who have signed on to my newsletter. And the big issue this month for us, me included, because we put a lot of work in, was this. And what this is, it says Chartography, 5 reinvented transcriptions of autumn leaves. Those of you who have talked to me in different quieter times and less adventuresome outside activity know that as while I am some of the people whose baselines are transcribed, I guess, I've never been a fan of that usage. Not because it was illegal or wrong notes, but thought the transcription was not a complete story. What you got when you got those transcriptions, you got one bass line, either a 12 bar blues or a 32 bar song form. That's all you got. And I explained to people who kind of wonder why I get so upset about that use of my work. It is not that it's just that they didn't ask me to use it, or it's kind of done without the permission of the record label. That that chorus they took of mine in this case, or Christian McBride or Ray Brown or John Patitucci, whoever bass player's line they transcribed, it's just that line. With that line, you have no reason to understand what it does there. All you have is these, if you have a blues for them 12, 48 notes or so of a bass line. You have no idea why they picked that bass line. You have no idea why that bass line seemed to be attractive. You don't know whether that was the first take of this song or the second take. You don't know whether it was an edited bass line. You don't know if the piano player comped just the right, finally right comp, or the drums were just the right bass drum sound. All you have is this one chorus bass line. What this book is, besides being a great physical presentation, is the following. With the help of David Barron and Leon Malson, I've picked Autumn Leaves as my sample tune. And since that was the first song that Miles Davis Quintet 63 to 68 played every concert, the first tune, it turned out to be a perfect scientific laboratory. You had the head chemist, Miles Davis, and these 4 acolytes or assistants in his laboratory. Mr. Davis would bring in all these chemicals, we call them tunes right now, and our job was be to make these chemicals do something. No one knew exactly what they would do. We would hope they would produce a better experiment than yesterday. So what I've done, I've taken 4 choruses of Autumn Leaves, which was always the format with this band, but that included Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock, Tony Williams, and myself. And the first choruses would be without the horn player. So here I have a perfect laboratory. I have the same song written, the same song played 5 different concerts, Berlin, Miles in Berlin, Miles in the Plug Nickel, Miles in Holland, Miles at Monterey, and Miles in Germany. The first 4 choruses of these songs, maybe 5 choruses in one case, and it shows you how my bass line from the first concert, Miles in Berlin, has evolved for the next 5 performances of this song. Also, at this book, you have at the very top of each melody page a little thing called a QR code. And this QR code allows you to scan this code and hear the song that you're looking at in this page. So you can actually hear the results of my bass line. You can monitor every note. You can see why this chorus may be more exciting than this chorus because that's the result of this chorus. You hear how Herbie Hancock changes his voices for the third chorus of this song because he heard the second chorus last night was this. You can hear Tony Williams play a rhythm that I'm catching up to because I started that rhythm two courses before at the previous concert. You can hear Miles not play because he's not sure what I'm going to play based on what I played last night. The truth is, I'm not really sure either, but it's going to be happening, whatever it is. So, and you have this score. This is Miles in Germany. That shows you the quartet, Miles, trumpet, piano, bass, and drums, playing uh, Autumn Leaves, 10-8-64. And it has four choruses of us playing this song. And if you look from the first page of this book, you have a chart that tells you what each symbol in this book represents. The line means the rhythm was carried over. A different color change means I use this change over here, but I've developed over here. And you hear Tony Williams, bass drum, kind of complementing the line I set up for a previous concert. So this is what I think the first of, I hope, of an example that people who do transcriptions for lessons will buy this book because we need the money. And you will find out that they can see that transcription has really great value in this complete transcription, not just a chorus. One of the problems, additional problems with this one chorus transcription that I've been an unwitting victim of or two is it doesn't show how I developed this line that they're playing. And if this line is written in the key of D flat, how would it sound in the key of F? Or they will tell you the student transcribed this bass line through the keys. Well, I'm not really sure there are many bass players who have the skill level to transcribe through the keys any one chorus of my bass line. And I'm not sure that's what necessarily make bass lines great, whether the line is transcribable if you don't understand what's beneath it. What chord makes this work? What drum sound rhythm allows this bass line to be just like this? And this book is what I call the perfect transcription etude. It shows you and you can hear through the QR code what the band is playing as you are reading through the score of my bass line. I'd like to think that it would be a boon to jazz bass teachers who are looking for a way to have their students understand bass line development and be able to show them how a bass line evolves for, in this case, four or five choruses of the same song with the same band on a nightly basis. I think I couldn't find a better way to have them understand that this line I started in April of 2063 was played again that fall of that year has taken this kind of life now, and the band is understanding that this guy back here is no longer behind the palm tree, but he's part of the band too. And they're trusting my judgment that once I have an idea going, I'm going to try to see how much can I get out of this line? How can I develop it? How can I evolve this line so that the band not only expects this involvement, but they will be a part of the results of me playing this line for the same tune that we know is coming every concert, the first concert for the next 5 years. Uh, it sounds really complicated, but I've kind of passed this book around to some of my friends who've been kind of astonished at the amount of work it took to make this really slick presentation, how accurate it is, and that they can actually hear what we're playing with the QR code at the top of each page for the specific location. Uh, it's really an amazing event that science has allowed us to do, and I must admit my friends have picked me like this and drugged me into the 21st century, kicking and screaming all the way. And while I didn't fight them, I was not going without kicking and screaming quietly. I'm glad I shut up and followed my instincts as they were paying me to do, and we got this project done. It's really nice. It's one of a kind, and I like to think that it will be an excellent thing for especially piano players and junior high school bands who got to teach a bass player how to play. This takes him off the hook. This allows him to watch a bass player grow in his band and have his bass player be responsible for making the rhythm section of these high school bands have a power to the action. For many years, the bass player has always been the least, what's the best word without sounding pedantic? He's gotten the least amount of help because no one knows how to teach the bass. No one knows how to teach jazz bass very well, especially to a 15, 16-year-old kid who's got the bass because he wants nothing to do with computer, but he's trying to find his band, his fans got a band. He's only the nominated bass player. He always goes to the high school teacher, can I show him how to play this bass? Dad, I want to take some lessons. Well, get a teacher. Well, there's no teacher at school. Only one guy who plays trombone. Well, Dad, buy this book. Next thing you'll hear, one down. Next, nice book. One of the reasons this book took place is that I've gotten frustrated at my inability to explain away my not encouraging my line as transcribed to be sufficient information. And this takes me off the hook. I said, well, you buy this book that explains why this one line that you have picked, in this case, Autumn Leaves, how it got there. And if you look for the next time we play this song, what happened to that line? It's now over here. Well, listen to the rest of the band. They are now over here joining the development, how this bass line is evolving into something else. We tried to get this book out as quickly as possible, and now that the ink is finally dry, and we're ready to go to the post office and mail these books to you as quickly as you can order them. Any questions that I don't answer today or you don't think of to ask, I'm available. Just tell me what page and what number it is, and I'll tell you why it works. Or I'd like you to email me when you get this book, if you don't have it already, and explain and give me your thoughts. I'm interested in how we can make it better, how we can, I personally can see how you're amazed at how this bass line developed without you being aware of it for these 4 or 5 concerts. You can see why a chorus that's isolated by itself is a lot less valuable when you can show this person not only do you have a great chorus that's transcribed, but what happens to that chorus for the third chorus? What happens on the fourth chorus of this tune? What happens when the band plays this tune again a month later or a week later? It's this development of the bass line that I hope that this book encourages jazz bass teachers to use this book and show their students how a line that's on the first chorus of Autumn Leaves has developed and evolved so that it in fact controls the entire direction of the band with these great players for the next 4 concerts when we play this tune. I've recorded this tune with other groups other times, and I've been able to further take this line that I discovered, these changes, to these other bands. And I think you will hear a little hint of this part here all of a sudden shows up with this band. Or this idea has not been expanded to a different part of the tune with this group. I think I hope what this book does for you is to focus your tuning into the bass on other records that I'm on and see how to have developed this specific bass line on Autumn Leaves to different environments with different group sizes, to different instrumentations, to see how this line evolves depending on the instrumentation, depending on the size of the band. And needless to say, it depends on how harmonically interested my fellow members are. Uh, are they curious about harmony, different harmonies tonight? Are they interested in a different kind of rhythm tonight? They think they heard this last night. Suppose I don't do this tonight. If I should do just all quarter notes right here for the first eight, will that throw them a curve? If the first note of a chord is the G minor chord and I play B flat in the bass, is it going to throw them a curve because they want to hear G? Uh, all these factors determine to what lengths I am comfortable to help watch and help my line evolve and develop as the song goes on. Uh, One reason I go to work every night is to see what kind of laboratory am I in tonight, and are my fellow acolytes who are learning this music are as interested in finding new combinations for these chemicals, call them tunes, as I am. I'm sure some of you who have this book have already scanned it and have maybe a question or four. Uh, the floor is now open for any one of the six of you. Just raise your hand or so I know that you're there and are breathing comfortably. Yes, anybody.
No questions?
No, everybody knows the answers to some of these questions. Give me the question that you don't know the answers to.
May I ask a question, please?
Yes,
Yes.
you can.
Thank you very much. When you say autumn leaves, the first thing that went through my mind was the CTI record with Chet Baker and Paul Desmond. That's all I have to say. I mean, there's nothing that record is just to me so outstanding. It's really amazing, 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 amazing. I could hear you right now on that, Mr. Carter.
You know, the bass sounded great that day. I'm telling you. There are times when the bass does what it's going to do and I just kind of go along for the ride, you know?
I've never heard that day when it didn't
Huh?
sound great. I never heard a day when it didn't sound great with you, Mr. Carter.
I did 1967. I heard one day it wasn't very good at all. How could I forget
I never heard that one. Thank you.
that? Thank you. Yeah, Chet
Thank
Baker, he came with a strange reputation, but boy, what a wonderful player. And Paul Desmond and Steve Gadd. What a bunch of great guys to fool around with harmonically. Had a great time, man.
May I also say Paul Desmond was quoted saying that after there was a downbeat interview where the four gentlemen were reunited, and they mentioned in there to Paul Desmond that Ron Carter is usually with you on records now. He said he could do it all. That was what Paul Desmond said.
Well, I've learned to appreciate his humor more and more. He's a great person who takes words and anagrams. He's great with that stuff. And I would give him a word, and he would turn it around and have another meaning from this word by juggling the letters. And of course, he was an incredible player, man. You I miss him. When the club moved from downtown to 52nd Street, that band that he brought in with him was me, Jim Hall on guitar, and Al Harewood on drums. Boy, he's talking about a band worth going to hear. I'd play to hear those guys, man. Just wonderful. Every last one of them. And a group like that, perfect. Anyway, I'm sorry you only bought one of those records because you should have bought 12 because it's a really nice record that had poor sales. Those guys played good, man. I love them. Yes, thank you, Marshall. Can I play you, Marshall?
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much, Mr. Carter. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Gross.
Yes, Professor.
Yes.
I've been going through this book for the last, I guess, 4 or 5 days. And what's most remarkable to me is the 67 performance. The evolution over those 5 years is really quite extraordinary. The chances. And well, first of all, I've been taking notes. So the QR codes is a brilliant idea. When we do our radio show, I'm going to steal that idea for all of the songs that we do on your podcast. Hi, Penny.
Hi, David.
So one of the things I wanted to bring up is there's a wonderful book by Rand Blake called The Primacy of the Ear. And one of his suggestions that I would throw out to everyone here is listen to the tunes a couple of days and get the whole meat of the tune in your ears. Then grab the sheet music, read along with it, and you'll be amazed at how much easier it is to go through. It's a great book, Ron. I'm telling you, it's got me thinking, and that's always a nice thing, particularly during these last 12 months. To think is a wonderful thing.
Is he still at Berkeley?
Yeah.
Or New England? Yeah. I haven't
New
seen
England
him.
Conservatory.
I haven't seen him, man, in over 25 years.
Wow.
Worked with a singer, Gene.
Yeah, because he did a few records with her. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
They were a good duo in New York. They used to work Village
Yeah.
Vanguard all the time.
Well, I
Yeah.
remember when, I was just a kid in New York City going to see him and also getting that first record on ESP. Long time ago.
Yeah. He's still active.
By the way, Bill and Brenda say hi.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to see him still active. Yeah, Gene something. Gene Carter. No, that's with the organ player.
No, it wasn't Gene Carter. It's Doug Carnes' wife. No,
Yeah.
gosh.
I'm almost embarrassed as you are because I know them. Right
But
now,
the book is fabulous. I would recommend that for anyone who A, wants to get deeper into the music, and B, anyone who wants to learn ear training. It's a fabulous method. And it works hand in hand with this stuff. Also, all the codes that you've got, and the first thing I'm looking at here is, oh, you're doing a G flat. So that's a tritone substitution. and I'm looking at it and go, this is great, because what you're doing is you're basically saying, hey, look here, and you'll be able to figure out exactly what we've done. It's really great. It really is 21st century, sir.
Thank you. Well, my horse is outside with my saddle nearby. I'm glad I won't need it.
All right, I'll get you some hay, because I'm up in Connecticut now.
Is it H-A-Y or H-E-Y?
H-A.
Hey.
Hey. And thanks.
Me and Paul Desmond. Thank you. Yeah, the book's quite an undertaking. And when I showed the book to Leon Malson last night, he was stunned at the presentation. He'd only seen scraps and handwritten corrections and stuff like that. And to see this slick finished product, it kind of took him for a loop. He said, man, I didn't expect to look like this. I said, well, Boots, come on. I got great, got a great book. What can I say?
Yeah, it's great. I wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you. Next victim, Mr. Zucker again. You just waved me hello. Okay.
No more questions?
Yes, Grant.
Good day from Australia, Mr. Carter. How are you?
How are you?
Thank you. I just want to take the opportunity just to thank you for the beautiful music that you've shared amongst the minions of the world. I've been listening to your music for years and years, trying to transcribe your lines and all the from the albums and all that stuff too. And years ago, I actually purchased one of your books, this book here.
Yes.
And that changed my life in terms of the beauty that you've got in terms of your tone is just, when we start off, sometimes we get caught up with back pickup electric bass playing where it's very nasally. And then when I heard your playing, just how solid and round and just amazing it was. So I just want to just thank you. If anything, I mean, I could have hundreds of questions, a little bit nervous too. I've always wanted to come to New York, but I'm obviously that's a little bit of a trip. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you for saying hello. I admire people who do transcriptions. I was pretty good at one time, but that was many choruses ago when I had that skill level. And to know that people really sit down and transcribe John Coltrane solos or the drum classes, transcribe Art Blakey's drum solos, and having helped the bass players who try to transcribe some of my rhythms and changes, that just kind of stuns me at that level of patience and that hearing, that acute hearing ability to do that. And I'm sure that when I've seen those transcriptions of my bass line, it took me a while to really acknowledge that, did I really play that? You know, of course, my focus is not to be the bass player hiding behind the palm tree. You know, I want to be my bass line to be an integral part of the band. And in fact, I want my bass line to be leading the band. Uh, but to know that people have spent the time to transcribe my bass line, that's a pretty stunning revelation to me. And I admire anyone who has the skill and the patience to do that. Fortunately, I don't have to read that and play it back for them. That's why this QR code is really special. I needn't play it for you. It's already there. And it's a great example of my attempts to make a bass line have a life, not just for the chorus that's been transcribed, but for a series of courses covering a various amount of performances in various locales, with some wonderful players, by the way.
Well,
Thank you.
all
Thank
the
you.
best. All the best with the new book. As I said, like when I was going through and studying your bass lines, one thing that I really appreciated when I was learning more about bass was that you don't have to go to the root note all the time. And in your book that you've got as well, you can always choose different notes. But I think it's so amazing how you acknowledge that the motivation. So you might have a transcription, and it may, you know, there may be other notes that's being played. And sure, you can learn that from a theory point of view and go, okay, well, that's the third and that's the fifth or whatever, be a chromatic note or something. But you have to sometimes put it into the context of you may be reacting to something on the stage, or you may be driving something with the musicians. So there's always that motivation behind just not doing it from a technical point of view, but obviously, I mean, you're a legend unto yourself, and with all the people that you play with, sometimes, yeah, putting it into the context is very important to know why you've gone to that note for.
Okay, well, one of the great things about this 5 chorus, 5 location process here, that you can see why I'm playing the B flat in the bass of a G minor chord. You can see where this note comes from, where it's a B flat note right there, and how I resolve this note for the next note. That's why this book is a real eye opener to people who are transcribing and want to know, why is he playing that B flat and not a root? Why isn't he playing the G right there? It says G minor. He's playing a B flat. Why? Well, look 2 notes before and 2 notes after this book of transcriptions, and you see exactly why that B flat, that's really a better note than the G. You know, I got
Yeah.
lucky. Oh, okay, that was one of the lucky ones. Not bad. Thank you.
Also doing the pedal notes. But anyway, thank you. And also just the pedal notes are always good because you can. One thing I learned about listening to your music and with the legends too is you can hang on that pedal note for so long. I mean, you have to have a reason behind it too. But when you fall in love with the bass guitar, there is so much interaction you can do, and some things can fly over the top of people. You know, they may not get it as much because you might have the soloist kind of, you know, leading the way. It's so much fun you can have, and once you tap into that, then you go back and you listen to recordings that you've done and the other legends too, and the appreciation is just mind-blowing. As soon as you study a little bit of an art form and you go back and you listen, then you're like, oh, okay, now it becomes a whole new thing. So anyway, I'll thank you so much, Mr. Carter. I appreciate this opportunity.
This answers those questions.
Zucker, are you raising your hand or are you fixing your?
Oh, I'm just I was chatting. I was agreeing. I'm coming up
Okay.
with thoughts.
I'm not sure any of you are old enough, but remember that a cartoon character called Kilroy was here. He had his hands over a fence and this just slightly.
Right.
Yes, Elizabeth, you have a nice smile. Do you have any nice question to ask me? Come on.
Mr. Carter, my name is Jacques Lidonis.
No, wait. Elizabeth is trying to get her lip up to answer a question. I know it's coming.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Carter, thank you so much. I just ordered today, not the new book, but two of your other books. They're on their way to my apartment down here in Soho. I'm a Berkeley student through the online program, and the pandemic was not a good year for my playing. And Berkeley invited me to one of the master classes with you recently, and I went and I got re-inspired by you. Immediately went onto your website and signed up for your newsletter. So I guess my question to you is, this never happened to you in your life, most likely, that I just went through almost a year of not playing. And it's very, it was heartbreaking for me and disturbing. And I feel like this is my re-entry. And I don't know if you have anything to say about that, about getting back to your instrument, but I even ordered your beginner's book today to go right back to the beginning.
Samantha, book one.
Yeah. So if you have any wisdom to impart about that, like burning up, even saying it, it's almost like I feel like I betrayed my base.
Don't feel like that.
Okay.
Beginning book, Samantha, book one. Ron Carter, book one.
It's on the way.
You know, I've often asked, how do I practice? How have I practiced during this 14 months? And I explained to my friends who are comfortable enough to ask me that kind of question. I tell them I practice 10 minutes today, and tomorrow I'm aiming for 15. Not having been in school as a teacher for, in this case, 2 years, I'm kind of lost my way with the current kids' terminology. So sometimes my phrases are a little dated, but I feel you. Yeah, I'm feeling that, you know. Uh, when I practice, I have an aim in mind because I know I'm going to work. I can try it all out. Well, that hasn't happened in 14 months. So what I've made myself do, Miss Rosa, is take an exercise out of one of my study books and play it till I get it right. It's only exercise 5 in this Storch book, something like that. Just so I return to the disciplined player that I am. And it's not easy. It's not easy to turn off the devices we have, the iPhone and the iPad and my desktop. You know, but in order to get that edge back that I love to have, the callous I like to have, to be able to stand still for an hour and a half and not have to dance to get comfortable again. I have to start somewhere. And my way of starting is picking an exercise out of one of my books, or the Samantha Storch Arabi book, and just spending 1 hour on a randomly picked exercise, and not leave the exercise for the next hour until I get it right. And I can assure you, I understand how frustrating it is not to play the bass. And for me, that means not to work at the bass. Practice is what it is, you know. To not to have a place to try out what I'm practicing live, it's that issue with me. So I've taken the exercise out of any book. I spend 1 hour till I get it, and I've learned how to practice. So it's not a wasted time of just hanging around and jamming with myself. That's no fun. That's no fun for me. You know, I'm kind of, I need something other than that to bounce my notes off of, to bounce my rhythms off of. So these exercises, they're not based on rhythms. They're based on skill level. I need that. So when you get this book and you start to open it up, pick an exercise and spend on time on it till you get it right. Don't accept almost as being good enough. That is never good enough. And I assure you that you'll feel much better once you get that done and you'll say, gee, thanks. Okay, I'll take that. Thank you. You're welcome. All right.
Thank
Ro-
you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Mr. Carter.
Thank you.
Mr. Chilidonis, you had a question.
Yes, please.
Hello, Mr. Carter. My name is Jack from Belgium. I'll try to speak slowly because I have a big accent. Yes, I've been working on your book and practicing, and I play with a quartet with one saxophone, one trumpet player, drummer, and me on bass, no piano. And I try, but I try to follow your advice about playing, sometimes not playing the roots. And they always comment on me and say, yeah, we don't know sometimes where you are. Your baseline, they're not very steady or something. So can you give me more advice? Because sometimes I feel I'm sloppy.
Okay. That's a pretty extensive question. I'll try to answer it without
Sorry.
having, no, without offending your band members.
No worries.
No, those guys, they're in trouble. They're asking you, Jacques, may I call you Jacques?
Jacques, yes,
Merci beaucoup, monsieur. They're asking you to play very simple so they can play something. They're
exactly.
telling you if you don't play the roots, what they practice all day in their kitchen is not going to work.
Okay.
And I resent being the object of their pain because they can't play what they practiced all week.
Okay.
So when I go to work at night, Jacques, I tell the band, theory class starts at 8:15. The gate starts at 8 o'clock, right?
Mhm.
The class starts at 8:15. And I'm telling them I'm playing some theory class for them. If you guys really want a lot of roots, there's a market that's open from 6 to 5 a.m., 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. down the street that sells nothing but roots. You got sweet potatoes, you got yams, you got all those roots down there. You want some roots? That's where to buy them. Right now, I'm going to play thirds for a couple of choruses. And I will decide when it's time for a root, not you. If you're going to say that, Jacques, you have to know how to make that happen.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
my book tells you exactly how to make that happen. These transcriptions show you the results of how a third is really the best note to play.
Okay.
So I'm encouraging, don't let those guys scare you into playing roots all night, man.
Okay. Thank you.
One. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, because he
We're not,
held me back.
Jacques, we're not doing that. Tell those guys you want to come from behind the palm tree and come right up front with those guys.
Okay.
Since I'm
Thank
sitting,
you.
since I'm sitting, I sit by that remark.
Thank you, Mr. Carter.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
If they want
He
to,
held me.
if they want to email me, I'll explain them in detail. I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank you. I'll take the heat.
Nobody's gonna.
No, I'm okay. You know, if I talk the talk, I'm gotta walk the walk. I can do that. Yeah, I know that too.
I know.
Thank you, Jacques.
Thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur. Yes. Don't let me point somebody else out now and make them get embarrassed. Come on.
Oh, okay. Mr. Duray and then Gabriel. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last name.
Okay, speak.
Mr.
Anyone?
Duray, you're on.
Oh, me? Okay, sorry. Hi, Mr. Carter.
Oh, Raymond,
Sorry
how are
here.
you?
Yes, looking forward to continue my lessons with you in New York City.
Yes.
I'm in Montreal, back in Montreal. I've been confined for about 14 months. So, my question to you, Mr. Carter, you were talking about transcribing. if we sit down and start transcribing and listen to either the CD or YouTube or anything like that, how do we know that we're right? How do we know that we're transcribing the right note?
How do I know I'm transcribing the right notes? That sounds like a pretty complicated question, but the answer is pretty simple, Mr. Dore. They're my notes. I played them. I know what B flat sounds like. I know what F sounds like. I know where they play them on the bass. When I'm writing a bass line, transcribing a bass line that I wrote, it's easy for me to find that because I'm playing myself. I'm transcribing what I did already. It's not a problem for me. Yeah. And I hope I didn't mislead you to think that I can't transcribe bass lines. I just don't wish to do that. For me, it's not productive, except a project like this. And here it's critical to do that because it shows you why my lines do whatever it is they do. It explains to them, as I just explained to Jacques, why I'm playing a B flat for the downbeat for the first for the tune in F. I'm going to play A for the first note. And I explained to those guys, we talked about blues and F. We agree? Yeah, man. Then watch I play F again just to show you that I agree with you. How about if I play an A? But I'm not in practice. Hey, look, all I know is that's part of the tune. It's part of the chord. Yeah. I mean, it's easy for me to transcribe this line, these books, because I'm writing what I play. I'm writing what I hear. It's not complicated. I just admire people who transcribe my stuff, who don't play the bass like I play. They're strictly trusting their instinct that these notes I'm playing are in this order with this rhythm. That has always fascinated me, and I've always had a great admiration for anyone who does transcriptions, whether it's bass or artatum changes, artatum or train. Yeah, I admire those people, man. My patience, I used it up. My last time I had some patience was 1967, something like that. Yeah, I used mine up then. And mine are all gone. I went to the store yesterday, Mr. Dore, and I was going to buy some more because I knew I was coming today. They're all sold out. So I'm stuck. We stuck with me with no patience. Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much.
Love you. Je t'aime. Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes, Gabriel.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, Mr. Carter. I really have a question. I just really love to thank you for this opportunity to talk to you because you're very much an idol of mine, and I myself have spent a couple of hours transcribing your lines. I've transcribed the audio line, which has really changed how I perceive jazz playing. And this is an amazing opportunity to be talking to you, sir. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
Well, if I were typing you a thank you note, it'd be in pink because I'm very embarrassed right now. Thank you. You know, we talk about playing bass. I'm sure all you are bass players. One of the things I have never liked to do is change my strings. I mean, you're talking about having a hard time practicing, Ms. Rosa. Changing strings, that's like way up there on my list. So, but today, knowing I was going to see you people, I got my spirit together. I found some patience in my closet. And I took it out and I tried it on. It felt pretty good. And I changed the strings with the patience. So I'm going to take 10 minutes of your time so you can see how a new set of strings sounds. So don't go away.
Oh, okay.
Oh my
He
God.
surprised
Yes.
me.
Bravo. Thank you.
Wow, awesome.
There's thunderous applause. You just can't hear it because everybody's mic is muted.
They'll sound better tomorrow. So, just more questions now. I've given you a rest to think of things to ask me.
Ah, Mr. Diaz.
Yes. Where are you?
I'm Mr. Carter. I'm Mr. Carter. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Please.
Yes, okay. First of all, thank you so much for the extraordinary amount of work that I can imagine it took to put it all together. And I'm sending much love from here, from São Paulo, Brazil,
Thank you. Obrigado.
which you know Brazil is de nada. So I would love to hear from you, Mr. Carter. I'm sure the book will bring some light about what my question is, but I would love to hear from you about the thinking process when you're creating baselines and what you recommend to us, bass players, when concerning our approach when we're creating baseline, when we should be really leading and expecting the piano player or the guitar player, the chord player, reacting to our lines that we are imposing, let's put it this way, or when should we balance, when we should react to what the chords, the piano or the guitar players are playing, and then we are more like negotiating and reacting to what they are playing, or when should we be a little far away from the chordal thinking, and maybe we could go like experimenting with a melodic approach, maybe negotiating with the horn player and trying new ways. I would love to hear from you about the thinking process.
Okay. My student asked me the same kind of general question about working in New York. They work with different ensembles, different levels of players, different concepts. You know, that explain to them when they leave their home going to work, leave their ego at home and bring a spare set of ears. And I say to do that because if you leave your ego at home, you're more open to other possibilities that these guys going to bring to you. And if you bring your ego, then it makes you a strong enough person to be comfortable with your view of harmony. But playing these, what my friends call beautiful notes that are not of the chord or the third in the bass for a change, to make that stuff work, it's going to take three things, I think. It's going to take you really knowing that song, really knowing the changes of that song, and really knowing the form. The second thing it's going to take is the guys in your group to have the same kind of harmonic curiosity that you have, the same kind of rhythmic interest that you have. That kind of mutual interest allows you, the bass player, to feel more comfortable to play notes that are not the root and not always on one. Okay? The third thing is you got to go to work and expect to have fun making these terrible mistakes because you have one more chorus to fix all of them. I have never felt that I was unable to play with any group that was of a different level than mine. If I'm playing with singers who just need a real uncomplicated bass line, my job is to do why they hired me. It's not necessarily to play me, whatever that happens to be. You know, my job is to give them what I think they need, and I have one course to figure that out. Occasionally, Mr. Diaz, I've gone to work and I've kind of gotten tired of hearing me, you know. And one of my dear friends, we would do a duo, and I would just go one night and play the first set, just like my friends, Jacques' friends. I'd play all roots 1 and 5, you know, because that's what I just wouldn't feel like playing the third right there and the quarter note trips. I just wouldn't. Wait a minute, I did that already. You know, I was kind of getting tired of hearing me, if you can imagine that. And so after the set, the piano walks up behind me like this. I said, "What's wrong with you, man?" He said, "Are you awake?" I said, "What do you mean, am I awake?" You're playing like you're asleep. You're not playing like that. Can you give me some thirds and some, yeah, that, you know? So I have his attention now. That allows me to do anything I think that's reasonable to could make this fun song, make the tune go like this way or this way, because I have his attention. I'm always concerned about leaving him in a different place that he can't get to by playing the third or some 2/5 chords rather than just the 1/6 2/5 changes. I found, Mr. Diaz, that the more you hear your environment, the more you hear what he's playing, the more you hear what he's playing, the more choices you have to blend in and make your note the more important note. I trust my sense of hearing. I trust that I understand where they're going. My job is to help them get there. If it means playing 3/4 notes, 1/5 1, I'm okay with that. But it also works 3/5 1 if I can get their attention. And once they understand that I'm doing my job and helping them get to somewhere, which is why I'm hired, the anxiety and the animosity, if you know that word, and the ill feeling of this wise guy playing bass who thinks he's something special, it kind of goes away because they understand that I'm hearing some different notes. I'm trying to make them comfortable to hear them. Having said that, I don't mind playing 1/5 1 all night. If it takes to that for the person who hired me to be comfortable with me and the band, I want to leave this gig, man, that with the guy feeling that I want to hire him for next week too. And if he thinks he's gonna get that 1/5 1 for the second week, sorry, you had your chance. Now it's my chance. Yeah, you get 1/5 1 for the opening tune, and then after that, you're mine. And I and I mean that. But I will give them 1/5 1 though. I'm okay. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Carter.
You're welcome.
Wise words.
Thank you.
Gabriel
Yes.
Palado has a question.
Yes.
Can you unmute your, here, maybe I can, I'll ask to unmute you. Well, he typed something in the chat, so I'll,
Okay. Okay. I'll read it in a minute. Ed McGuire had his hand up.
Hi, Mr. Carter. Thank you so much for sharing this, sharing your insights with us. Cam, I'm really looking forward to buying the book. I wanted to ask, in the process of doing these transcriptions and revisiting the music that you played, many, many years ago, did you find that there were instances where you might have made different decisions in hindsight?
Yes.
How has your thinking changed, and going back to do the transcription exercise, how has that given you insights into other decisions that you might have made?
Number one, I was surprised how advanced I was. I'm hearing, as I understand and look at what this book offers, this analysis, I'm really amazed that I played that, as I understand what it is, 40 years later or whatever it is, to see me having done that so far back in my career, something that clearly no other bass player was doing at that time. I find it's like Einstein realizing E equals mc squared after all this time. It just, I feel like I'm over here right now, so far over my head back in 1963, And as I listen to these analyses of the first of this Autumn Leaves analysis, I see how I've evolved and developed a chorus, a total of 4 choruses a night for the same 5 tunes. It's a really an amazing feat with 1 E. Uh, it's astonishing to see that this band, Herbie and Tony and Miles, were trusting so much in me with no discussion, with no vote, with no who's in charge of the band kind of stuff. I'm the leader. I was the guy who was leading the band for these 4 choruses, man. And to know that I instinctively knew enough about music to make the harmony and the line go this way in that way with a logic that they knew was happening because it was me playing it. It's just almost embarrassing. Well, not that much. Uh, Having said that, in doing this book, I began more and more to see how I got to where I am today. You know, the rumor was, Mr. McGuire, if I can call you Ed for the moment, that Miles was practicing at the last lives to put the quintet back together. And I was so much waiting to do that because I had learned the bass so much better since 1968. I had learned more how to manage the band. I understood how to make the band follow my lead. I'd always tell those guys, hey man, Miles is the band leader, but I am leading the band. And there's four choruses here. Prove that out for those first four choruses of Autumn Leaves. I'm in charge of the band. I just wish I had gotten together one more time so I can show you her guys. I don't know where you've been for the past 40 years. This is where I've been. And I rue the day that we never got to do that. You know, I miss those guys, of course, and I think I missed them 60%, and I missed them the rest 40% showing off. Because I learned a whole lot in the past 40 years, and I just couldn't. I have no fun to share it. You know.
Thanks so much.
You're
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Volado's mic doesn't work very well, so I'm going to read you his question.
Okay.
Um, he says, uh, were there any extra musical tools while playing with the Miles Davis Quintet, especially in those ambiguous/open moments when one or another instrument stops playing or the time gets more diffuse?
Um, the only musical tool we all had was trust. Miles and Herbie and Tony and Wayne and George had the trust that I knew where we were in the song, no matter what was going on, no matter what alternate chords were being played, no matter how little time was being banged in their heads, uh, no matter how fast the tempo, no matter we're doing the same library again for the third night in a row. We trusted each other's ability to trust each other. And I think once they trusted my sense of maintaining the form and being able to go back into the right change, the original changes of the tune when I felt we're kind of getting fragmented here. Let's kind of just do like this from hold our horse back in for a moment. Once we understood that relationship with the band, internally the band, those moments where the time would kind of stop and slow down, and when the changes seemed to be a little different than they were than you would expect, and certainly from the night or so before, I think the band had that ingredient that's necessary for bands to get better. That was trusting each other in the band to do their share to make it work. The band was a collective, not us individually.
Mr. Sam
Thanks, Gabriel.
Semioli, did I say that?
Hey, can you hear me, Ron? Good to see you.
Yes.
All right. By the way, I'm David's co-host on his radio show, which is airing right now, but we'd rather be with Ron Carter than listen to our own radio show. Just to follow on the thread you were talking about and just looking over these transcriptions, of course, it's important for a bass player to maintain his or her own identity. But could you comment on, when you look over all these different versions, how the people on the bandstand affected how you played that tune at that given moment? And, you know, maybe comment on the importance of a bass player to adapt tonally or harmonically. Because, you know, we play the first set a little bit different than we play the second set. We play the first gig a little bit.
Wait.
Yeah.
What do you mean we? You?
Me.
Yeah, okay, you play with that, yeah.
Yes.
I'm trying to get an order here. I'm kind of getting lost in this conversation. Well, let's put a comma out there just for 1 minute. You got a lot of questions I'm trying to answer.
Okay.
Okay. And I've kind of gotten an order. I think Mr. Semioli, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Got that right. B flat 7 with F in the bass. Yeah, that's
Of course.
that the question you asked supposes that I'm not a strong enough player to maintain my end of the band. I think me as a
No, I think it's just how you adapt rhythmically and harmonically on every given situation. When you look over the different versions of the songs, how the people on the bandstand affect how you play.
okay. Now that's the reason we have those barcodes at the beginning of each song.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually hear the bands evolving as I'm playing this bass line for those 4 or 5
Mm-hmm.
courses. That answers your question. The band
Mm-hmm.
was so aware of my, and I'm getting a little bit embarrassed now because I got to say I, and I'm not really good with that word yet. But they were so embarrassed at my audacity to take this idea in tense on Monday and play it on a week later in the same place, but a half step higher. They began to expect that from the bass player.
Mm-hmm.
And my job is not only to deliver on their expectations of me, but my ability to understand what that expectation meant for the next night, or
Mm-hmm.
for the next song that was not Autumn Leaves.
Right.
We had to stop somewhere with this analogy, and we picked the same tune because it's really clear then how this one tune had all these shapes based on not just my line, but the band adjusting to the information coming back from the bass player who was no longer hiding behind the palm tree.
Right.
Uh, David, the other thing, Tom, is that we all had other gigs.
Right.
We were just Tony was working Sam Rivers for a while, and that's that scene, and Herbie had his own band going for a while. We had other interests going. I
Right.
think what was interesting for this band is that we stayed active, although when Miles was off, we had other musical sounds in our ears.
Okay.
And I think ultimately this other experience made us even tighter because we understood what it felt like to be in a group of guys of equal desperate talents
Mm-hmm.
who are aiming every night. Understand this is one more chance to play some really nice music. And we're in this band with the same like thinking players,
Okay.
same like minded players. And when they would hear me play a figure that they thought was valuable, they'd jump on it right away because they want to see where am I going to take this? Or where can they take this? And what will I do with that?
Right.
That kind of curiosity, that kind of give and take with these 4 uh, guys who were matriculating in the school of Miles Davis.
Mm-hmm.
But it's my course. That's how I've always looked at it.
Okay. All right. Great.
And if you look carefully, you will find that as the book is laid out, there's a straight line that will show you a rhythm I play at this chorus in Berlin. It's over here now in Monterey in the same tune, or it's over
Mm-hmm.
here at Plug Nickel. I'm moving this figure around to see where's the best place for it. And I have to do this with no music
Right.
and no recording in my ear from the last night's gig when it was to remind me. So I got this radio in my ear just playing this stuff back to me for all these times. And my job, Mr. Seniola, is to kind of separate my bass track from all stuff and find out what's here that I can use for the next night. And
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten pretty good at that.
Okay. All right.
It's a pretty complicated answer for a very complicated question.
As it should be. Thank you, sir. Very good.
You're
Excellent.
welcome. You're welcome. Good to see you. Yes. Don't make me call somebody now.
No more victims?
Mr. Stabi, how are you, my friend? Congratulations.
Hello. Oh, thank you very much. Great to see you. Thanks for your time. Looking forward to this book as well. Yeah, I don't have it yet, but I will soon.
Yeah. Some interesting
Um,
things for you. You have a good scheme of things. I think you like to see how a line is developed over 4 choruses for 5 different performances with the same band, and the first sheet that tells you what these lines mean and the different color changes are pretty self-explanatory, but it makes it really easy to read and follow along with the evolving of the bass line as well as the piano because you hear Herbie with this QR code lets you hear exactly what we're playing. and you can just kind of follow me, just follow the bouncing ball, you know.
Yeah,
Da,
that's
da,
wonderful.
da, 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 da.
It's so great you've done it.
Yeah,
Wonderful. Wow. Congratulations to you for doing it. It's
thank you,
wonderful.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Todd Weinstein. Wait a minute. Todd Weinstein, my photographer friend. Hello.
Oh, hi.
How you doing?
Good. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a COVID while, I guess. Yeah, but Ron, I'm not a musician,
Me, it's okay.
but I appreciate the invitation to this incredible conversation. But I use music as my goalpost when I try to, you know, photograph. And I'm a street photographer, and I do a lot of improvisation when I'm working, and um, and sound is a big thing. And when you photograph, you don't hear much. And I was wondering, I've been hearing I've been in your Zooms, and I've been hearing a lot about you saying that you also listen to the other musicians that you're playing with, and I've been thinking a lot about like how to listen more when I'm out photographing, because sometimes when you bring the camera up to your eye, you don't hear anything. Everything becomes quiet. And I was wondering if that ever happens when you're playing. Like,
I try not to let that happen to me. I try to be able to be the sponge for all the information coming from the band, the drums, the piano, the horns, and the more I can hear of them in real time, the more I can plan my course of action because I hear where they're going.
so you're doing that simultaneously.
Yes, yeah. My job is to my job is to get there before they do, and
It's
not
a
to
little
make.
bit also like when you photograph, you're walking and you perceive something and you try to be
Excuse me.
in,
Yeah,
in, in a state where you can absorb something before.
we got to do that as a bass player because we're make you know every note we play, Mr. Weinstein, has a function. If I play a B flat and a B flat chord, the B flat is the chord. That B flat is the form of the tune, announces the form. That beat tells them what the groove of the tune is. That groove tells me what tells them what the pitch of the band is. That pitch is the dynamic of the band, loud and soft. That pitch is the presence of the bass. All that with each note I play. And to be able to make all that information have something to affect, I got to know what's coming in this way. Then I can affect either the most immediately or someone that gets a little less attention in affecting them because I got these two guys right here. I want to squeeze these guys with my like this, you know? Or heaven forbid, one of them gets lost in the song. So I have to hear him playing two beats off of everything. My job is to kind of let the band keep grooving and try to slide this guy who's over here more here and maintain the configuration of the band's rhythm feel. Mr. Weinstein, the only way I can do this is by hearing everything. And right now, the problem I'm having, Miss Rosa, is that I can't turn off the music in my ear because I can't do anything with it. I mean, I have this radio in my ear. We all do, I think, memory, music memory. I'm hearing these songs in my ear, and I can't resolve them because I can't. It's just me. I don't hear the band. I don't hear anyone else resolve it. I don't hear anyone else hearing music in my ear that we can resolve these issues together. So I'm kind of walking, sometimes I walk and chew gum at the same time. And I'm not really good at that anymore at this age, you know. So right now, my fight now, Mr. Weinstein, is to kind of control how much music I'm hearing and control the memory of remembering this music. Because there's no way I can explode it. I can't experiment with it because it's only me. When I'm playing with Wayne and Herbie and Tony and Ma, I have these four influences that I can just do whatever I want because I know I have their attention. And that makes a bass player's job even really valuable to the band because he's the guy where this all goes around. And so right now I'm having to adjust that I'm not having to make those decisions right now. I don't have to be worried about the best note. I don't worry about is the tune too fast. I don't worry about the solos too long. I don't worry about should he solo at all. I don't worry about hurt feelings because I told the guy you play it too long, you playing too loud. I missed those decisions. Right now, I haven't made those decisions, man, over 14 months. Right now, my decisions are: is it time for the garbage to take out? Who's doing the laundry today? Who pays for the bill? Who pays for the laundry? Did you get the mail? That. Right now, I'm kind of grooving with that, but I think I've kind of worn that out too. I'm ready to go to work and so I can cuss the band. Hey, what you do? What? What? Get out of here! I missed that.
You're helping a lot of people. You're helping a lot of people here.
And I think they miss it too, by the way.
I appreciate the invite. Thank you.
Good to see you.
We have two people with their hands up now.
Okay.
So I guess Hori and then Mr. Morrow.
Okay.
Hori, go ahead, answer here, unmute.
Hello.
Here she's coming.
Okay.
Not
Hi,
showing me.
me.
We can hear you. Go
Can you hear
ahead.
me?
What are you gonna say?
About a recording. Okay.
Point it this way.
Do you want to ask your question?
Oh, me?
Yes.
So yeah. So I met Ron Carter at the end of the 19 end of December 2019. 2019. So at the Blue Note Tokyo, you were playing with cello musician, and after that I shook hands with you at while you were taking dinner. So do you remember me?
I don't know where you are on my screen, so I can't see you. I'm not sure where I'm talking to. Can you raise your hand?
Okay, my question is,
Okay.
I'm a beginner of the playing instrument. So do you recommend your transcript to learn the music
I recommend you
for
get.
beginner?
I recommend you get this book.
Okay, oh, comprehensive basis method. Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. This book is way over your head.
Oh, I am going to buy it later.
And practice it. Yeah, later, like for 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that my book is built for someone like you who's just starting out, who has no teacher or a teacher who doesn't know how to teach bass. It shows you how to construct bass lines. It shows you how to construct positions where these notes are found. And it shows you how to analyze a chord to find out what's the best note for this chord.
Okay.
So good luck with the book, and I'm sure if you follow instructions, you get better.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's what I do. That book says shows you how to do exactly what I do.
Okay.
I've been doing it for a long time, so I got a head start now.
Mr. Morrow?
Hello, Mr. Carter.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Wherever you are, can you roll your hand up so I can see who I'm talking to?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see. I've got my hand raised well, I just took it down.
Your actual hand. Raise your actual hand.
Oh.
Okay, gotcha. Mr. Morrow's iPhone.
Yes. I didn't know I was going to be here today, and then I realized it was happening, and so I'm in my car in California. So
what's happening in New
anyway.
York right now? Go ahead. What's your question?
My question is, not too long ago, you posted something on Facebook that was really enlightening, and it was in regards to recording and the basically a sheet of like a blueprint of what you do when you get into the studio. My question is, could you just maybe even just a little bit elaborate on, not if you're in a recording for somebody else who might already have their blueprint, but for example, I'd like to do my own recording. And if you were, what you do when you're doing a recording for a record that you want to do, like the tunes, the structure, the form, that kind of thing.
Okay, if you email me through my site, I will send you that list.
Okay.
Because it specifically does how I make records as a band leader.
Okay.
And they're based on saving time, saving energy, saving enthusiasm, and monitoring the budget.
Right.
So if you email me with your name and email address, I assure you that I will get that stuff to you and before you can say B flat 7 with A in the bass.
All right.
We have it. I'll make sure you get it.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll look forward to that. And I'll email you.
Okay, did you stop driving to talk to me on the phone? iPhone?
Yeah, I stopped driving.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Please don't do that again.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. No, thank you, sir. And thanks for all that you do. Much respect.
Thank you. Before you go, I have a student I had a student last year who was from South Africa, a really good bass player, and his father called me today to see how his son was doing from Johannesburg, you know. So I says to him, "Are you driving and talking to me at the same time?" He said, "Oh yeah, well, I do that all the time." I said, "Well, hang up, because this conversation is over." You know. So I don't want to hang up on you, but don't do that.
Correct. I wouldn't drive and do this at all. And by the way, I sure enjoy your presence in all the Steve Bailey, Victor Wooten webinars as well. You're wonderful addition.
They're really fun. I like those guys. We have a good conversation. We have
Yes, they're great.
8 minutes to go, so I'm going to do 2 more quick questions. Denise, are you able to answer a question in 3 minutes and get a 4-minute answer? Caught you, didn't I? You have a question for me, Denise? Can she hear me?
I'm looking for Denise.
Okay.
Denise, where are you?
At the bottom of my screen. Denise Lear.
Okay. Well, she should be somewhere.
There she is.
Hi there.
Oh, there you are.
Hi. Very, very nice to meet you. I great admirer of your music and have some of your books already. I don't actually have a question. I just I had another meeting right before this, so I popped on a little after you had started. So I'm just really enjoying this and enjoying being here and hearing you talk. And I saw your conversation with Steve Bailey recently, and thoroughly enjoyed. Very inspiring. So just wanted to thank you for all that you do. You're very inspiring to me. Thank you so much.
And that's better than the question. We got 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Going. Jason Flores? Do you have a question? You can't know all the answers, man.
There we go.
How are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
It's just a generic question.
Okay.
Like when you say transcription, do you mean like a handwritten thing, or is learning a bass line by memory sufficient?
Neither one of those sufficient. They'll get you past the first chorus with anybody, but that's not sufficient for a gig.
But to study the art of playing the bass and to get ideas from people and build the vocabulary, which one is
You know, I recommend you, Jason. I'm not sure how much time you have, but if you get my book, it shows you how to make bass lines. That's what you need.
I'm gonna order it tomorrow.
Wait. Transcriptions have a place, but a very small place. My books, Jason, are designed to help you make a bass line without needing to rely on my bass line for one chorus to make the gig work for a week. Now, my concern, Jason, is that bass teachers, by and large, and I hope that no one calls my house at 5 o'clock in the morning or That's like where I park my car, man, and soak my windows, you know. Thank you for protecting me. Is that my books are geared to help you know how to play bass lines of your own initiative once you have a plan in place. And my plan is what allows me to find the notes I find. Transcriptions can show you one chorus that I found these notes. Okay, but if you aren't playing in that key all night, what good is that for you to do? Really good for you. And so I recommend, not just because it's my book, but that's part of it too. But there's a system involved. The system does not involve copying somebody else per se. It's a system that shows you how to make your own base, like an architect. You can take a picture of a guy's house forever, man, and copy that house, but you don't know how it's built. My book allows you to build your own house with a good foundation, which I think my books offer. And I use that foundation when the base comes out of the case. I'm using that foundation. So I can make my recommendation to you, and I'm not trying to make someone else not get any work as a teacher. My book helps you get where you want to get to faster and much more productively, necessarily than a transcription of one chorus of My Bass Line or Ray's or Christian McBride's or Gene Wright's, whoever you might find.
Cool.
Good answer. Good question, Jason. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for everything, all the bass webinars and everything. That's
You're welcome.
pretty awesome.
We got 5 minutes. Don't waste my. Come on, I got 4 courses left. I want to go. Yes, Daryl.
Yes, sir. How are you, Mr. Carter? From Baltimore.
Okay.
Your collaboration with Rudy Van Gelder, who has been one of my most favorite engineers. I, heard at one time that you all collaborated on mic choices for, your bass and all.
Yes.
Could you just explain just your relationship with Mr. Rudy Van Gelder?
Okay. Well, I would go out there for about 6 months or so on Saturdays for 3 or 4 hours a day, a Saturday. And we would experiment with different kinds of mics, with different mic locations. We would experiment as to whether or not with the room, I'd be in a small booth or in the room. We decide what pickup to use. They were never used an amp in Rudy's bass. It was always a mic or a pickup that went right to the control board. This went on, man, for 6, 7 months. And the results of that was that I'm the bass player who made more records out there than Rudy and anybody else. Because he knew what he was getting when I walked out. We put the time in to develop not just a musical camaraderie, but a friendship that he knew when I walked in the studio, his job was over. All he had to do was plug me in, he could do something else. And when I got there, I wasn't worried about trying to get a good sound because I knew what I was walking into. But he was the person who made the bass really sound important in the jazz records.
Yes, sir.
I mean, really sound, bam, like that. And I like that kind of feeling.
To this day, Mr. Carter, his recordings are just supreme.
Yes.
Really.
Yes, I agree. And right now they're re-editing them, they're remastering, so the bass really sounds like it's a diamond all over the place. And I love that stuff, man.
I do too, and thank you, Ron.
I'm playing like this,
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's nice to see you all, and we're going to do this again at some point. Marshall and Tom, Yaron, Todd, Jason, Thomas, Byron, Elizabeth, Kurt, Daryl, Ori, Tom, Byron, Denise. What's a good question? Teresa, Ramon, Ed. Thank you.
Thank you.
And David. We'll see you around. And Renan, we do this again at some point when I have another book, or we'll just have to talk for a while.
Sounds great.
But bring some questions.
You're the subscribers. You get this and nobody else does. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Carter.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Carter.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good night.
Thank you. Lots of love.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.